Hi everybody, it's Queen Jelly here and welcome back to my toy box. I run a doll and toy themed YouTube channel. I like to post at least once a week, maybe twice, just kind of depending on my availability and the dolls that I have available at the time. This is like the 15th time I've tried to film this intro, so do excuse me if I sound a little annoyed. I promise it's not at you guys or at this doll, it is just at me and apparently my inability to do something that I do twice a week. But anyway, we are going to be looking at a little bit of an older doll today. So this is Lenore Loomington. She was the first new character that they introduced into the Monster High Generation 1 doll since like the end of Generation 1. She actually was released last year around the same time, around March. That is at least when my order receipt is for. She was $75, which I know a lot of people weren't like super thrilled with her design in general, but especially not for like $75. And like, I totally get it. But I really enjoy her, and I would really much like to enjoy her more now that she's out of the box, or going to be out of the box, I should say, because I have had her actually on the shelf behind this Rainbow High House for a while, but she is there with some other like empty boxes from some of my other collectors, like the Chucky and Tiffany ones and stuff like that. Those are back there, but also a couple of dolls that I wasn't able to unbox ended up back there, and they just kind of get forgotten about because when a lot of dolls come out at the same time, it's kind of hard to decide like who to get like recorded and get uploaded, because I want to obviously have like relevant content for you guys. So sometimes some dolls kind of get pushed further and further back until they're just not really relevant anymore. But I figured with Mattel Revealed coming up, I figured she would be a little bit more relevant, especially because they are supposed to be releasing another new character for Mattel Revealed. Or at least that's what I've heard, because some of the bigger channels have gotten some boxes that have come with like a surprise or like a hint inside. That's this little like hair clip that's supposed to be for a new character potentially. But we'll see what happens, because she's actually still available on Mattel Creations, although I don't know if she's supposed to be limited or exclusive. I think she's just exclusive to like the website, but I don't think she's supposed to be like a limited edition. I think she's considered a more of like a general production size, just so that she is available to everyone. But I could be wrong, because I think some of the other dolls from around the same time, the Honkateur ones, those were around for a while too. So, and those were supposed to be special edition. So again, I'm not entirely sure what her edition size is or anything like that. Like we never really do with Mattel Creations. They're very particular about that. And I don't know if that's like intentional or just because they don't really know how it's going to go. So like when you see like the Barbie numbers and it says like no more than X amount made, what I think it is so that they make as many as it says, right? But then if there's quality control issues, which yes, despite the fact that I know a lot of times we get things that are kind of like questionable in quality control, there is quality control at Mattel. And so I think when they go through and they get rid of the dolls that did not meet quality control at all, then it reduces that number. And so instead of adjusting to that number, they just say no more than X were made. That's my theory. I could be totally wrong, but that's at least my theory. And I think that's also why they don't give us an exact number for these as well. So that if something happens to one of the dolls, they're not able to make it to market for some reason, that doesn't affect the number of available dolls in the, X of X dolls. That's, again, just a theory, a game theory, but that's, I think, all that I have to say. Again, I filmed this so many times that I don't know what I have said and what I haven't said. But I think this one is going to have to do, because I'm ready to get this girl out of the box. But here is one last close-up look. She did also come with an extra sleeve on top, but I already took that off because the reflection is already bad enough. But I will show that to you when we're on the desk. But again, I think that's all I have to say for now. I need to take a breath, get something to drink, and then we will get her unboxed. In the meantime, while I'm doing that, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. We are so close to 900 followers. It's crazy. Obviously, every one of you means a lot to me, and the more that you like, comment, and subscribe, the more that you are able to see my videos again if you enjoy the content, and the more that YouTube will send it out to other people so that they can also find my videos. So it really does mean the most when you guys interact with my channel. So as always, thank you so much, and I will see you in just a minute. Okay, so we are now up here on the desk. Before we get started looking at her box, I do just want to remind you that if you're interested in any particular part of her unboxing, whether it be this part where we're talking about the box, the actual unboxing, or talking about the doll herself, or you just want to get some last minute thoughts, there will always be timestamps down below. So feel free to jump around and use those as need be if you're interested in particular sections of this unboxing. With that being said, we will go ahead and get started. So she does have a outer sleeve, as I was saying, on the floor. The outer sleeve has her name right here, Lenore Loomington, and this section right here actually is glow in the dark. And then here we have some teal designs. So up in the corners, let me lift you up so you can see, you have some spider web, and then we have some grass, some candles, and some vines down here, and then a Mattel logo in a metallic pink, along with this like Monster High logo down here. And then on the side there is, so this is part of the box underneath, but then these details here are part of the sleeve on the top. And same thing on the back. They're kind of hard to see, but there are these metallic pink spider webs up here in the top corner. And then down here, more green, we have some mushrooms and some flowers. And then we also have some flowers, spider webs, and mushrooms. And then this little like mouse creature here, all in a red color. And then, is that the side we already, this is the other side, there we go. And again, we have a pink detail underneath with then a green outline on the top, which I think is really cool. It kind of gives it almost like a 3D effect because of this extra piece on top, which we will take a quick glance at everything again without that piece on top, just so we can see what it looks like. And then on the very top here, it says on a dark, eerie night, and it has the little spider and some little flowers here. I'm hoping that the spider's name is like maybe on the back of the box in this little blurb that's up here, because it wasn't on the website. Like I read through her like listing again just like to see, and I did not see it on there. So hopefully it's somewhere in this blurb. If not, I don't know what their name is. But let's go ahead and slide that off. And it's still a really pretty box, but wow, the amount of like detail that this slip added is kind of crazy. So here it is again. Here's the back, the side, the front, and oh, I'm zoomed in, I'm sorry, and the other side, and then the top, which isn't really that different, but I would say the biggest difference is here on this, on the front, and then on the back. All right, here on the back it says Lenore Loomington doll. On a dark, eerie night, Lenore saw a soft glowing light. Full of curiosity, with a lantern in her hand, she stumbled to a mysterious garden surrounded by glowing sand. This mysterious, protected place was so secret and kept out of sight. It can only be entered by bright candlelight. The garden is home to a menagerie of ghostly creatures and flowers, all searching for that special someone who would spend time with them for hours. To be in the garden, to become a ghostly apparition. But Lenore loved the garden and its creatures so much, she wanted to stay with their permission. She noticed her body had become shimmering, ghostly, and very divine. She knew together, in this ghostly garden, they all came to let their spirits shine. Signed by Rebecca Shipman. And then here is some artwork of Lenore. So no, we still do not have a name for our spider friend. But that was very pretty. Again, this was a new character that they introduced, and a lot of that information must have been shared during the like live stream of her, because again, there wasn't a whole lot to go off of on the like website itself. That's what I got for now. So we will go ahead and continue forward into the unboxing phase. Okay, so I now have Lenore out of the box. It has been a little bit since I was able to record. I had some like issues with my car and stuff, so I do apologize if I like repeat anything I've already said or, you know, anything like that. But I just wanted to, before we could look at the doll, look over the box and also talk about, I did actually go back and watch her introductory video kind of thing, like where they revealed her, like I was talking about, like on Mattel Revealed. And there's a lot of really cool details that they talked about on there. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some of them as well. But the reason on the back of the box that it's signed Rebecca Shipman is because she actually wrote a poem, which was what was the inspiration for this character. Her name is Lenore, kind of inspired by the works of Edgar Allan Poe. And then also I found out that her name is Lenore, which I thought was a really good touch, again, off of, you know, Edgar Allan Poe. This is a G3 character, by the way. She came with the coffin bean. I guess she works there as the cashier, but her name is also Lenore, so I brought her over because I thought that was kind of cute. But one of the other things I wanted to show you guys was I realized as I was kind of going over my footage again that because I was zoomed in, you weren't able to see this. So when you lift up the sleeve, you can see down here, it says Lenore Loomington. We have a little skull here in the middle and then some more symbols over here on the side, as well as the spider here. Now, I think earlier in the video, I may have said her name was Lenora, and that's because of this little like swoop here. It kind of thought my brain like processes it as an A, but her name is indeed Lenore. And then here we also have the back of her box. I want to show you because you can actually see a little silhouette of her back here, which is the artwork that Rebecca did for the concept art. And then also there is the poem written in throughout the background here. So like if you look down here, there's a little bit of the poem and so on and so forth, and more of those creatures like the flowers with like the eyes and stuff like that. So I just wanted to show that to you. This is the little spider friend. Again, we did not ever really get a name for our spider friend, but they are a light blue with pink eyes and some pink candles on the back, and then their feet look like they're kind of dipped in blackness. And she also has this cute little black lips. The candles on her back are these 3 different height candles with the wax kind of like melting onto her back. And then for her stand, it's actually kind of interesting and very delicate to get the effect to work. However, as you can kind of see, because you can't really see the top of it in the shot, it is a lot taller than a standard Monster High stand. So this is a standard stand, and then we have Lenore stand. So there is a good extra bit right up here at the top. The idea is that you put Lenore on it such that she looks like she's floating. So rather than doing the saddle stand, they gave us this taller stand. But as you can see, again, the waist clip doesn't like to sit all the way at the top. So it does kind of make it a very delicate effect. But if you do it just right, you can get her to float. So if you just kind of gently place her on there, again, sorry, this is as far back as I can zoom. It is quite tall, but you can see that she kind of floats up here in the air. And if you have it right and she's on there and you don't really play with her or like touch her, she sits there pretty nicely, and is actually surprisingly balanced. So I did also put the spider here to kind of help counterbalance it. I know it doesn't do a heck of a lot because it is such a light spider, but it was actually helping at one point when I had her balanced a little bit differently and she kind of just kept falling back. And then I put the spider there and it was like just enough. But with the way that she's sitting like right now, it seems like it would be okay. But I will go ahead and take her down off the stand so that we can look at her details. She does have some long black hair. I'm going to straighten out her legs. That does go to what I would feels like about knee length. Let's see if we can. Yeah, about knee length. Mostly black with some light green and light pinky purple highlights in it. And then she has a spider web headpiece here. So it is spider webs. And then again, the 3 candles. This time they're kind of just like lined up, but they are still at the 3 different heights, and then have the wax melting down onto her webs. So this is her earring. It is a little flower at the top, and then it kind of dangles down into another candle with the melting wax. And they did paint the flame, which I appreciate. And then it is in this kind of like cage, kind of like a lantern shape. And I do believe that both of her earrings are the same. Yep. With that being said, we will go ahead and go onto her face. Now, this is a retooled sculpt from a previous doll. I don't know who the previous doll was, but it was said specifically that this was a face that they used before, but I do believe that there was some small adjustments made, but I'm not 100% sure on those details. I will include a screen capture that I got from the live stream that shows previous examples of this face being used. As for her skin, it is a very light, almost pink, almost gray kind of tone. She has purple eyebrows and pink eyes, and then underneath, if you can see, she actually has glittery tears. They're meant to be kind of just bittersweet tears. They're not supposed to be specifically sad, but they're also not directly happy. They're just kind of, you know, there and part of just the overall look, because although it is a dark and gloomy place, she is happy to be there with her new friends. So she does have a light purple kind of around her eyes here that kind of gives it that more like sunken in feel that we see with a lot of dolls that are inspired more by things that have passed away, because she is after all a ghost. And then if we come down here to her piece, we have this big green vine piece that goes all the way around the back side and clips on the back. And it does dangle down kind of like an oversized bow. On the front, it almost looks like it's a couple of different necklaces, but it is all just this big vine piece that leads to the flowers here in the center. And again, I do like these little loops here and then these strings that kind of, again, give off that feel of like a large bow. There is also another flower here by her shoulder. Now I will go ahead and take this off so we can take a look at her dress without it. Now, just as I was taking that off, I wanted to point out that this is actually a headband here, because I was just kind of curious how it was attached, and then I double checked, and it is a headband that is currently clipped onto her head, but it does go pretty low down, almost all the way around the back side, so it should stay on pretty well even if you were to take it off. Anyway, as for her dress, it is a dark blue with a black layer on top. So we have these cute little blue puff sleeves that go into these longer bell sleeves. This is a Victorian inspired outfit, if I'm correct. However, it's obviously not accurate because, you know, this is Monster High, not a not a historical doll. She then up here at her shoulders has these little black shoulder straps, and as you can see, there is a layer of plastic underneath meant to protect her arms from bleeding through of the material, since she is such a light-skinned doll and is wearing such dark colored fabrics. Same thing on this side is this big bell sleeve here that does have this black sequence trim all the way around it. Her top is kind of almost like a baby doll top. It is a full dress, but like if you just look at this black lace here, it is fully black all the way around to the back, and then has this black lace overskirt on the top that is almost reminiscent of like spider webs. And then underneath that we have a long blue train. Now it is actually, as you can see, very long. Again, this is to help with the illusion of floating for when she's on her stand, because it extends all the way back, but it can just kind of drape around her while she's on the ground as well. Because she is a garden ghost, all the way around the bottom of her dress is the garden scene that we saw from the box. We have some bats and flowers and spider webs and our little mouse friend and the mushrooms, and they're just all the way around this really pretty trim here. And it does kind of have a similar shape to how the sleeves do, where it comes to this point here at the end. And I can lay it out a little bit so you can kind of see some of the design. And then actually underneath all of this, so if we take this here, this black and blue part are connected together. However, she's also wearing a little black slip dress underneath. So she basically has on a little black nightie underneath. Apparently that's where the shoulder straps are coming from, not from the dress. And then there is a little light black lace around the bottom. And this kind of just gives a little extra layer to the dress. And then here is a quick look at the dress without Lenore in it. Again, it is quite a large piece. Then for her shoes, she has these pink boots. Now it is quite interesting that they put the details on the inside. I do understand that it's because of like when she's up on her stand, it's so that you can kind of see this one. But typically with shoes, we usually see these like big design pieces on the outside. However, they do appear to be removable, so we can move them to the other side of the foot if you would like. See, just like that. And I probably will put it like this so that she can have both vines on the same side, I think is kind of the idea most likely. And that's probably why they are movable, so that if you display her this way, she can wear them on this side, and if you display her that way, you can wear them on that side. But again, that's just my my opinion based on like looking at their design, that was the intention. It is very similar to the piece that was on her chest. We have, again, the flowers in the middle and then the vines going all over, and they are two identical pieces. They are currently just rubber banded to her legs, so we'll slide that off so we can take a look at the shoe underneath. Now underneath, she does, again, because of that Victorian type inspiration, she does have very Victorian style boots with the buttoning all the way down the bottom and some little details here. Let me zoom in so you can see those a little bit clearer. She has some details all around the side. And then an open heel here in the back. And then instead of a heel piece, she has this wisps, so that even when she's standing, she is looking like she's floating, which I think is a really nice detail. I'm not sure how I feel about this pink. It doesn't really match much of anything else in her design, but I don't hate it. It's not like a terrible color, and I don't feel like it like really clashes. It does blend pretty well, but it's just kind of an interesting choice because the rest of her design is so blue focused with a little bit of black. And yes, there's the splash of pink with like the candles, but I don't think that's really enough to tie in the whole boots. But again, that's just like a personal opinion and not something that like distracts, I think, from the overall design of the doll. Unlike some of the other dolls, when they add random colors, sometimes that is distracting. I don't think it is a bad choice here with Lenore. And then last but not least is her accessory, which is going to be this candle here. So the candle inside does actually glow in the dark. And then on top of it has another removable vine piece. This honestly to me kind of looks like a shoulder piece, like looks like she could wear it as like a necklace like that. I just think that that was kind of fun, that it almost looked like another piece. Obviously it's not like a perfect fit, but I don't think it looks too bad actually. Here it is again up close. We have that cup around the top, this stretch down here, and then these areas on the side, which again kind of look like vines or like spider webs almost. And then here is the lantern without it. There is a little skull on the top, and it is all made in this dark blue, mostly opaque material with some designs etched into the sides. And then, like I said, in the center is that glow in the dark candle. And lastly, before I put her all back together, we have her certificate of authenticity. This is actually on a textured paper, which is kind of interesting. It says Certificate of Authenticity, Lenore Loomington. This certifies your Monster High Lenore Loomington doll materialized through the collaborative efforts of designers and artists at Mattel. Rebecca Shipman, as she is the lead designer currently for the Monster High Alumni Collection. With all that being said, I think I'm ready to go into my final phase thought. Now, I do actually have a lot of things that I want to say about Lenore. One, I do still understand why at the price point that she was at, why people really weren't super impressed with her. I can understand the thought behind it, and she does, from, you know, a distance, look like a very simplified doll, especially with the black on the dark blue design, so it's kind of very muddled and doesn't read very clearly from a distance. But I think that's kind of her intent. She's very seeing the forest for the trees type of doll. From far away, she's kind of this big, overimposing silhouette, and then up close you just see that it's just her forest friends, just, you know, on her skirt with her. She's really meant for the small details rather than looking at it as a whole. And I really think that that's something that's fun and kind of like out of the box for this design that I really appreciate. One of the other things I really appreciate with her, and I kind of hope that they continue with the designer collection series, is that she's actually not meant to be a student, from as far as I can tell. She is just another character that lives within the world of Monster High, because they don't even mention like her garden or graveyard or whatever being even like on school property or being anywhere near Monster High. Like Monster High, other than the branding, is not listed anywhere on her. And I think that that's really fun. She's definitely like her own thing. Like she's not like super like high end and like fashion version of like a Victorian outfit. Like yes, it's still Monster High-ified, but they didn't like give her like a mini skirt and, you know, whatever. And I'm not saying that those are bad things, but I just think that it's fun to have something that's so different from everything else. That's something that I really strive for in my collection, having like a lot of unique dolls. And so having something unique, again, like a character that's kind of meant to be their own thing just within the world, I think is a really nice concept. And overall, I think that she's very beautiful. Now, I still 100% understand and kind of agree with that. I don't think she should have necessarily been $75, because that is kind of the same price as like some of our co-branded dolls have been. And so like getting a doll that's standalone Monster High for the same price as, you know, like what, again, like one of the like the collectors that are kind of co-branded, or even, you know, because like this one was $50, but like I know that like some of the other ones were a little bit more expensive than that, but they were for, you know, exclusives or, you know, characters that we already kind of have established. And for me, since I don't have like a big backlog category of Monster High dolls, like basically all of these characters are kind of new to me. But I still feel like maybe she could have done better at like $50 to $65, but I still think that she was worth the price for me personally. I really enjoy her. She's a really pretty doll. And again, I love all the little like details, especially like the little creatures in her skirt, like the bats and the stuff like that. So again, very much a doll to be appreciated from up close, and of course also very beautiful from afar, but most of her beauty is in her little details. So I hope that makes sense. I know, again, this was a little bit of an older doll, and I know it was a little bit since I posted, but I do hope you enjoyed her. I know I certainly did. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and do all that fun YouTube stuff, because it does really help out the channel, and it also helps you out if you enjoy our content, and we will see you very soon in the next one. Bye! Make sure to stay tuned to the end for a preview of our next opening.